what's going on? In today's episode, I'm gonna give you a full price breakdown on how much my project E46 M3 cost. So the car is a 2002 E46 BMW M3 and it had about 183,000 miles when I first got it. The exterior and the interior were a little rough, but mechanically the engine and the transmission were amazing. The car also came with a bunch of aftermarket parts including suspension, coilovers, SSR wheels, 4-pot StopTech big brake kit, full exhaust system, and a ton of maintenance. I'm talking tens of thousands of dollars worth of maintenance done by the previous owner. For all of that, I bought this car for $12,500. But I also had to pay about $450 worth back fees and smog. Now let's move on to the engine. I did the rod bearings in this car. The rod bearings, including new engine mounts, fluids, etc., cost $250 for the parts. For the labor, I went to PhD Motorsports in Pasadena, and although I did not pay the typical price, you can expect generally about $2,500 to $3,000 for a rod bearing service. However, if you are going to get your work done at PhD Motorsports, I highly recommend you give them a call so that they can give you an actual quote based on what you need. Next is the Vanos system. I got that rebuilt and bulletproofed using Bason Systems parts, and the labor was done by Billy M3 on Instagram. I'll go ahead and I'll leave a link in the description below. He also did a valve lash and a valve adjustment on the car, and the parts cost about $393 while the labor was about $800. I also got a build journal B-Spec tune, which was about $323. And that also includes their CSL SMG tune, which is a night and day difference on this car. I also did various maintenance things like replaced the diff oil with some Royal Purple diff oil. That cost me about $40. An oil change, that was about $70. And also I cleaned the AFE intake air filter. That was about 17 bucks for the clean kit. Now, one of the previous owners actually installed a 4-pot StopTech big brake kit on the car with Project Mu pads, and those are still in really great condition. Well, the pads were. The calipers looked pretty rough, so the only thing that I did on the braking system really was I decided to repaint them using Duplicolor caliper paint in yellow. The paint cost me about $24, and I also went ahead and replaced the StopTech stickers. That cost about $8. I also did an entire .4 brake fluid flush on this car. Moving on to the interior, I replaced the head unit with an Eon on Android touchscreen radio with a backup camera. That was about $400. And I also refinished the steering wheel with a suede wrap. That was about 50 bucks. The OEM seats were in pretty rough condition, but I also just didn't like how they supported me. So I switched those OEM seats out for OMP reclinable bucket seats. The seats cost $813 for the pair, but I was able to sell my OEM seats for about 500 bucks. I mounted the seats on Sparco brackets and rails. That cost about $424 for the pair. And then there were some miscellaneous bolts that I needed. Those were about 14 bucks. Some of the interior trim was also looking pretty rough, so I decided to refinish those, and that cost about $15 worth of paint. Moving on to the exterior, one of the previous owners decided it was a good idea to put some chicken wire mesh on the grille. I didn't like that, so I went ahead and replaced it with a black mesh, and that mesh cost about $42. I also tinted the fog lights yellow. That was about 7 bucks to do. And even though the car came with SSR wheels, it was missing the stickers, so I went ahead and got replacement stickers. That cost about $30. Moving on to the front, I have a CSL one-piece replica front lip. That was about $160 and about $17 to paint. And for the trunk, I got a high deck rear spoiler. That was about $123. I also replaced the old 2002 rear tail lights, which were like traditional halogen bulbs, and got an LED conversion for that. That cost about $164. And I also replaced the OEM belly pan that was underneath the car because that fell off for some reason. And finally, the rear trunk also had really bad peeling clear coat, so I went ahead and repainted the trunk as well as like a side skirt. All in all, that paint cost about $290. So with the price of the car, including all the enhancements that I did, I spent about $19,536, which sounds like a lot, but because of prices of M3s nowadays, I felt like that's a pretty fair deal. But what do you guys think? Anyway, thanks for watching as always. If you haven't already, make sure you check out the time-lapse build for this car. And as always, thanks for watching. Peace.